Good morning. Well, it's actually evening, but welcome to Mornings with Michael for information and educational purposes only. We're just going to move our little icon down a little bit so we can. This is Bitcoin was up around 65,500, pulled back to 64,429. People are saying we're about ready to take off with both the dollar and Bitcoin. So if the dollar goes up, the market will be at risk because the reason the market has been moving up, we believe, is because the dollar is weak. So that is the story with that one. Let us go over to our PowerPoint presentation and start with a word of the day. Word of the day is Ennead, a group or set of 9. The planets were in Ennead until Pluto was reclassified as a dwarf planet. So there we go. Here we look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. This is a shooting star. What happened the last time? A shooting star. We can go right over here and we can see the market had a big sell-off. 80% of the time, a shooting star comes out, market goes down, so it doesn't happen all the time. It was still slightly up for the day. That's why we have a green candle that was trending higher. And it has, on the stochastics, it is crossed right over here at the top. And we have a divergence right here at the top. What happened? We had the divergence last time right over here. So you can kind of see what that started, kind of bounced and continued downward. So this is the IWM. We got sort of a shooting star, could be a spinning top. You could say, well, we have a stale red light, but this is kind of what happens in a bearish environment. People get excited in the morning, and then the sellers come in the afternoon and sell things off. That's a bearish indicator. And we do not have any green candles here. We have a cross right here on the stochastics going down, and we have the divergence right here as well. Here's the divergence last time. What happened there? Big sell-off, similar to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Here we got the NASDAQ. Got a red candle here. This is a bit lower volume, but we got a cross here on the stochastics, and we got a heading down on the commodity channel index. Moving on to the S&P 500. What do we got here? We got the red candle as well. I guess we could go over right about here. We got 2 red candles in a row. They're not exactly the same, but this is what we did. Remember, we said 80% of the time these things head down. And let's get some target pricing on these indexes. Pull that up for you. Target pricing on the Dow Jones is 411.33. IWM is 211.88. On the NASDAQ is 464.86. And the S&P 500, which is currently at 571.47, is at 555.88. Right where this moving average is. Then we move to the VIX, or the volatility index. We've got a big bullish candle here. We got a bullish cross on the stochastics, and we got a hook here on the CCI. So it looks like that's going to go up, and so that would fit in right where the S&P 500 would be pulling back, where it's currently at its highs. Now let's move to some of the economic things. Signpost, U.S. net savings by household, businesses, and government as a percentage of GDP has been negative for 6 straight quarters. This is the longest streak since the great financial crisis. A lot of people would be talking about recession right now, but the current administration doesn't want anything with an R word in it. So that is why this is being hidden from the news. And what do we got here from the COBC letter? Richmond Fed Manufacturing Employment Index plummeted to 21 points in September. Look at this big downturn. It's the lowest level since April of 2009, and that was when the 2008 financial crisis particularly ended. The index has been in a correction for the majority of 2024 and even sits below pandemic lows. Furthermore, employment expectations for the next 6 months fell to a negative 12 points, the lowest since 2020. We know what happened in 2020. Overall business conditions are now at their worst since May of 2020 and second worst since 2008. The manufacturing industry appears to be in a severe recession. Is this really a soft landing? So that is from the COBC letter. And this is from the Game of Trades. Interest rate and consumer loans defaults are rising. They have crossed 550 billion, so they've lowered interest rates. Well, how long does interest rates lowering actually take effect? Usually it's between 10 and 12, 10 and 18 months, actually. So this isn't really going to help too many people right now. That's the bottom line right there. And what about all the goosing in China? Well, we kind of think that's going to be a sugar high. China has had negative returns for the last 10 years. We could pull that up here. We'll just pull up the index. Before we do that, let's go over to how we ended last week. Microsoft and NVIDIA, just refresh this. Microsoft and NVIDIA were down. Costco was down slightly on their earnings. Amazon down. Eli Lilly was down 3.5%. Energy was bouncing. And that is where we currently are there. Now let's go over to our charts. Oh, I'm not sure if this chart will show up. I have an interesting chart comparing MicroStrategy to, let me just see if I can change that here. Share. Share this one. I'll go to that chart right now. So this is carrying BitX performance to MicroStrategy. As you can see, they were kind of in line for a while, and now MicroStrategy is starting to really outperform. This is double, 2 times Bitcoin, so they have to go in and continually buy options on this one to keep it in line. So that is possibly why that's outperforming. Let's go over to our chart here. We're going to look at power or quanta services in a second. This is KWeb bouncing. Let's just take a look at it on a monthly basis, and you can just see over the last 10 years, this has been down. 2018. Let's draw a line over here. It's been in a deep correction. We can FXI as well. FXI, pretty much the same thing. Negative returns since over here. So we kind of think that's a sugar high. Ride the trend. The trend is your friend until it ends, sort of thing. back to power. We're just going to look at some stocks that are kind of trending and could be breaking out. Building and heavy construction. Mechanical and electrical for all the data center uses. This is why this is kind of tending to break out. It is kind of pulling back to the 10-day moving average right now. POWL, substation, switch generators, motor controls, very kind of similar area. Kind of pulling back to the 50-day, getting a lot of support, and it has been running up. This is a company that we kind of been profiling. Had a big move up here, pulled back to the 50-day moving average. This is where we added it here. We added some more on Friday. We got a option for 5 option contracts right over here to buy 500 shares, and we have 500 shares in addition. So we think this one has a pretty good potential. 12-month target is $30. So that is that. Uber seems to be bouncing along right here, pulling back to the 10-day moving average. Jeffries has a big move up here. I just wait on this one, see if it'll pull back to the 20-day. And the bigger semiconductors, I believe this has earnings coming up. Well, not till 12/5, but seems to be getting a lot of buying right in here. Pulled back a little bit on Friday. NVIDIA. So what do we see here? We got a lower pullback than the previous one. So it's starting to tighten up here a little bit. So I continue to put that on your watch list. These are some of the areas that so B, I think this is where some of the areas, this is really starting to look good. Building materials. This is kind of with the China trade. Metals and mining. I'd be looking out for energy as well. See if there's a pickup in any energy use. If this is true, this will put a monkey in the wrench of the Federal Reserve because inflation will be coming back. So it has been in a long pullback. Energy, when the chart looks really good, is probably the end of its run. So I would be definitely having this on your watch list. Utilities, I think they're still going to remain strong. Let's see, is this the one I'm looking for? Talon Energy, VST. Just kind of broke out of a cup right here, gapped up, and it just keeps moving up. Engaged in retail and wholesale sales of electricity power generation. BRT, we do have position in this. Got that right over in here. Moved up, going back to the 10-day moving average, not doing really anything wrong. Continue to look at real estate, back to the 20-day. Building material, home build or construction. So those are some of the areas that I'd be kind of looking at, some of the issues that have popped up recently. We didn't go back to power. Carpenter Technology, this is one we currently hold. Came up to the pivot, pulled back a little bit, may get back to the 10-day moving average before it starts moving again. Distributes specialty metals. So this is the mining metals kind of area, building materials. So this is those two indexes kind of cross-reference each other. They have a few of items that are in both categories. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now. Hope everybody's had a great weekend, and we look forward to speaking to you on Monday. Have a great night. This has been Mornings with Michael, weekend update for information and educational purposes only. It's your responsibility to do your own due diligence. Go out there and make a difference.